Is he on? Is he there? Is he ready? Is he on? Is he on? Good? All right. Hello! Again, I'm Thaddeus Stevens. Welcome again to History and You. Today we're talking about the Great Depression. Again with Old MacDonald, who had a farm, E-I...
You know, it wasn't funny the first time you said it ain't funny now.
Well, it was a little funny, but okay. Well, welcome back, Old. Last time you told us about the causes of the Great Depression, and today we're going to talk about the impact of the Great Depression on Americans. Of course, when we talk about the impact, what we're really talking about is what the Great Depression actually did to people, everyday people, and to businesses, yes?
Yeah, well, one of the impacts was that people became hungry and homeless. Not nowadays, you know, people can get stuff from the government. They can get help from the government and local governments and stuff like that. But back then, they couldn't get nothing. Government wasn't helping at all. The problem with that was everyone everywhere was having a hard time. They were struggling. Now our government and local towns and that takes care of it, but back then they didn't. So speaking about hungry, I've been looking around. You know those donuts we have with the little jelly stuff squirted in it? I'm trying to find a donut place around here. You know, my wife has one of those little squirty things that squirts.
Whoa, all right. So, tell me more about the impact of the Great Depression. Less about your wife, please.
Well, we had a hard time living on the farm. I lived in the Midwestern area close to what became known as the Dust Bowl. It was an area in Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas. It was big. We were actually gigantic. Do they still use that word? Those youngins still use that word? Anyway, actually my nephew, no, it's my grandson, yeah. He says like giant massive or,
nope, nobody says
giant or
nobody
something
says that.
like
nope,
that.
Nope. Nobody says that anymore. Nope. Nobody ever said that, ever. Please, tell us more about the Dust Bowl.
Well, the Dust Bowl happened because it just didn't rain. And it seemed like for 10 years it didn't rain enough to help the crops, so people were like, out of here. So you couldn't grow crops, you couldn't pay your bills, you couldn't eat, you know, so they had to leave their farms, become migrant workers, and they traveled far away.
Yeah.
So long.
Did this happen to you?
Well, no, because we were kind of on the edge of the Dust Bowl, and we had enough rain to kind of like keep us so we could grow crops. But as a kid, one thing I hated about that was my mom made me dust furniture. So I dusted, you know, and then by the end of the day, dust storm comes. I got dusted again. So finally one day I said, you know, Mom, I ain't dusted. Well, that was a mistake. I don't think I ever said that again, you know.
Well, many of those in the Dust Bowl lost their homes, lost their farms, tragically, and they moved west to find jobs. They became migrant workers, traveling around wherever they could, as told in that classic novel, The Grapes of Wrath, by John Steinbeck.
I thought it was Gone with the Wind because the wind was blowing.
I would assume that someone like you would think something like that. And now for a word from our sponsors, please.
Impact on the Great Depression of Americans.
Hungry and homeless life for many Americans.
Farmers' income falls to low levels.
Banks fall in large numbers.
Quarters of Americans lose their jobs.
Hungry,
Farmer,
banks,
a quarter.
We back? Ready?
We're back.
Good. Hello again.
Hey.
I'm Thaddeus Stevens. Welcome back to History and You. Still here with Old MacDonald. Old MacDonald, you were telling us about your experience with the Dust Bowl and living on that farm.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't so tough, except there was a time where I had a little baby cow, kind of, and, you know, I loved that cow. I called it Bessie. And then one day I woke up and Bessie was gone. And my parents said, you know, we had to sell Bessie to get food. And I said, oh, that's okay, you know, I understand. But that night we ate really well. We had we had some veal cutlets. Oh, they were delicious. Now I love lamb because of that.
Ah, yes. So, you do realize that veal is made from baby cows, yes? You do know that, right? You were eating Bessie, I'm sorry to say.
Yes.
You'll be okay.
Well, anyway, the migrant workers weren't the only ones trying to get work. By the way, I almost forgot my teeth this morning. If I had forgotten them, I'd be like, other people in the country also lost everything. I'd be talking like that.
Can you talk normally?
Yes, I can.
Please talk
Sure.
normally.
All across the country, banks closed because people panicked. People lost their life savings, just added to the hardships of everything during the 1930s. In a time, 1/4, that's like 25% of the people without jobs. And, you know, if you didn't have a job, you couldn't eat, you couldn't live anywhere, and people became homeless and hungry, and the whole thing was a disaster.
Wasn't there help of some kind in your country, like support from the government? Wasn't there something to help the people out?
Well, eventually, with the New Deal, they helped. Something from heaven.
Could we take care of that, please? Could we get that? Could someone please take care of that right now?
It must be my phone.
Take care of that, please.
So anyway, eventually the government took over and helped people. And you had enough money to do stuff. That's when I got my teeth. Yeah, I got those put in there.
You're done?
I'm done.
That's it?
Yep.
Fine, great. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you again. We'll continue next time our conversation about the Great Depression and the relief, recovery, and reform with, unfortunately, old MacDonald. We'll talk about people finally getting the relief they need from jobs and joblessness and hunger. With a duck here and a duck there.
You know, if I was there, I'd throw my teeth at you.
But you're not there. Thanks again for watching History and You. I'm your host, Thaddeus Stevens. Until next time.
Jerk.
I tell you what, that voice starts hurting my cheeks after a while.
Yeah.
Right up in here, it's like, oh my gosh.